Where did I go wrong? The eternally unanswered right and wrong answers. I am looking for hello psychology. My name is Nukin, a counselor. The theme is people with borderline personality disorder often say I'd like to introduce 3 of my favorite phrases to you guys. Do you know about borderline personality disorder? Is that so? It's sometimes abbreviated as BPD. It's people who are called Minhera. This tendency towards BPD is common. Border is a bit. It is sometimes called in a discriminatory way. That's how people make fun of me. Even if you don't forget the diagnosis, if you include people who have a tendency to I think there will be the way, I am one of them. A senior psychologist at work asked me if I am good at using words. I thought it was a border from the beginning. I was told that he was a real psychologist, even though I feel that way and am aware of it. When you say it objectively, music, yes, I couldn't answer anything. So actually, our psychology, the counselor will ask about the person I thought about whether I should suspect DPD. Of course, even though we say catchphrases, there are various ones for each individual. I think so, but it applies to me not necessarily. So, people with BPD often say things like this. Here are 3 things that people tend to say. In my opinion, I have selected some of them, so I will tell you about them. I'll leave it to you. Thank you. So the first catchphrase of people with PPD is this: I'm just telling you this. This is when you reveal a secret or something. You can use it when you want to praise someone. People who like others in interpersonal relationships move between the extremes of what you like and dislike. It is characteristic that 2 people, when you talk to someone, you start to like them. As soon as I get closer, I'll make this yours. I'm just saying this to you, but I'm going to say something serious coming out. You're the best. And he lifts the other person onto his shoulders. Do it and become the only one or number one. I want to decide. Even SMAP and Makihara-san. It's a fickle situation that is so volatile that it's overwhelming. The BPD person will go out of their way to tell you this, or you say you're the best. They want to attract people's attention. I can only survive by getting attention. So I choose words that move people's hearts. What kind of ability is that? Learn how to behave and speak to attract people because it has been a special experience. The person who said they would treat me well didn't feel bad either. That's right. It kind of tickles my ego. It doesn't seem like that at all. But actually, I'm telling you something special just for those with BPD. Even if I am treated like that, I don't really trust what they say. It's better not to. Most other people do the same thing. I'm saying that even in hospitals, there are BPD patients, but to several staff members, each in cases where they say they can only consult. Yes, they do. They don't really think they're lying. I don't think that's what you mean, but their evaluation of it tends to change frequently. That time, that person is truly the only one. Am number one, but soon no longer number one. Now and then the criticism starts. Gradually, I realize that his words were empty. The other person will get wind of it and they will leave. So essentially, BPD. I am extremely lonely, but I trust people easily. I do it too much, but deep down I don't care about anyone. I can't believe that people have abandoned me. I'm always worried. So I really don't think that's the case with me. I tend to worry about the other person's reaction. For example, Beep, do you think the relationship between the 2 of you is still so strong? To someone I fell in love with before I even knew it. It's easy to get too close. I'm only telling you this even though I don't have it. I don't usually say much to others. I'm going to tell you all about my personal life. At that time, the other person is waiting for my reaction, aren't you? How much will you accept? I'm trying to act on it, but even if you try it and see the other person's reaction, I'm not really paying attention to the things. Yes, it contains some very arbitrary interpretations, taking the other person's reaction as a victim or vice versa. I took it in a way that was convenient for me. So, we haven't established a relationship yet. Even if I tell them a lot of things, I'm having trouble responding, and I'm also wondering what to do. I have to come out. Do you feel like you have to worry about that? I get thought of as a troublesome person and get isolated, and above all, the BPD, the person himself said it and later said he regret what I said then, only in my mind. My delusions grew in many negative ways and I ended up with that person. Sometimes they cut off their relationship with that. Least, that's what I think. The DOITI ended up being a watch. So the second catchphrase of people with BPD is I like Mr. A, but I don't like Mr. B. This is mainly used to badmouth people who are not present. In a situation like this, people tend to say this phrase with their own personal meaning. There are probably 2 reasons. The first is me. Someone understands the intensity of my likes and dislikes. The second thing I want is to try it out. So, a likes B, but if someone says they don't like you, I feel bad for them. How would you feel about that? If it were me, so, Do you like me or dislike me? My feelings are wavering. Point one of the goals is to upset the other person's mind that I don't fall in love with people easily, that I hate it too, and you're no exception therefore, by telling and I'm trying to control it. I'm just telling you this and so on. Basically, people with BPD feel a deep emotional impact on others. I tend to say things that will stick in my mind. Skiing is fine, unless there is a very good reason. Dislike is something adults do not do. You don't have to say it, even if you really hate it. I think they're just trying to say something insulting to me. I dare to say strong words like, I hate it. There must be some kind of intention behind this. They can only understand people's feelings in this way. They are the ones who can't hold on to their roots. Maybe like this, I have to be desperate. I'm hopelessly lonely. Finally, the third catchphrase of people with BPD is, I only. This can be negative in a positive context. It also depends on the context. For example, if you are given special treatment. Or they exaggerate things that have happened to them. On the other hand, I was the only one who was ignored by others. I tend to say this when I feel like most of the time. They are also to protect their own hearts. This is my own interpretation of how I see myself. I feel like I'm such a worthless person because it exists somewhere. I have to be the only one, the number one, to live. I can't do that. I'm a little selfish here, similar to philanthropic personality disorder. I think there are, but most people only. That won't make you number one or number one. But little by little I started to accept myself. I can't give 100 points to myself, who is not a zero growing up while making compromises, but people with BPD do it that way. How can I accept myself in the gray zone? I think they don't know what to do. I am worthless because I have this feeling that I'm getting 0 points. Sometimes I give 100 points to my own interpretation that I create myself, but I still have no respect for myself. Values cannot be wiped away. And even someone's casual words and actions, I mistakenly thought that there was a negative intention behind it all. That's how I treat myself and others. It's always 100 points or 0 points. Good or bad. A life of uncertainty between the two extremes of liking and disliking. I think it would be difficult if you only knew that people around me think I'm a selfish person. I think it may seem like that, but I can only think of, even though it's hard, it means I'm still alive. Introducing the common phrases used by people with BPD. But what I want to tell you most is just because it applies doesn't mean it's NG. Recently, the existence of DPD has become known. What is often said together is that it is related to BPD. It was a disease that could never be cured, but that's how it is. So don't get involved. It's not okay. Saying extreme things is also a DPD. I think it's like that. I usually watch videos repeatedly. People have both good and bad points. Accepting both of these things is what causes mental illness. I think they are shouting that this is the way to solve the problem. It is, please tell me the fact that you studied that way professionally. I have BPD, but it is also a word against DPD. I was told there was nothing I could do, but I want there to be salvation somewhere. I am saying this with my own hope and theory. I think if I go to a good university, is it okay? Is it okay if I get some kind of qualification? Maybe, or something like that. Believing in salvation in the distant future, I was avoiding facing it, but everything now that I've achieved this, what remains for me is I just feel a sense of emptiness when I'm alone. I can't say this from my position, but where did I go wrong as a person? The answers and wrong answers that will never be answered. I'm looking for this kind of phrase. This is a BPD-like thing. I really feel this even when I'm on YouTube. However, in today's world, if this applies to you, you may have BPD'd. It's definitely the right thing to do to stop associating with people like that. Content that tells you the wrong answer is on the rise. Of course, there are good aspects to that. There are probably a lot of them, but the widespread understanding of it's painful for people with BPD. I think there is another side to this that I get happy and sad every time I see it. People who are repeatedly pushed into a corner. I think there are some people like me that not in a position to say anything arrogant. That kind of thing is half for entertainment. I took this video and other things with a grain of salt. I think it's a good idea to keep it